Ahmed Hassanin's pectoral injury just landed like a gut punch to a hopeful Lions fan's ribs, and man, this one stings deep. Rookie defensive end out indefinitely after taking a hard hit in the Miami Dolphins preseason game. Dan Campbell's words. I don't have that answer yet on his return this season. That uncertainty? It's the kind that gnaws on you. This is Lions News Fan Report, your gritty, straight from the Lions Den update. And if you bleed Honolulu blue and silver, you know we don't just shrug and move on. We lean in, fight harder, tailgate louder, and roar even when the chips are stacked against us. So strap in, crack open a cold one, and let's break down what losing Hassanin means for Detroit's defensive line. And yeah, it might be a bigger deal than it looks on paper. See, Hassanin wasn't just any sixth-round pick from Boise State thrown onto the field for depth. This kid is the kind of grinder Campbell lives for, the young defender building his foundation one snap at a time. You don't lose half a camp, and maybe the whole season possibly, without it shaking your whole defensive front. Detroit's D-line was already looking threadbare before this bump in the road. Levi Onwuzuriki's ACL surgery takes him out for the year, and McNeil, Pascal, and Wingo aren't even suiting up yet, missing camp with their own injury woes. Imagine trying to guard a rival backfield when the depth chart for defensive ends looks like a ghost town. This is the kind of setback that can make the difference between holding the line and getting steamrolled in a division where rivals like Minnesota and Green Bay smell blood in the water. But here's the wrinkle. Hassanin wasn't just a warm body filler. He was expected to push the starters, give Ben Johnson's relentless attack-heavy front some juice in rotation, keep the pass rush fresh when the game clock turns nasty. Daniels' scheme thrives on constant pressure, rotating guys so they're firing on all cylinders deep into the fourth quarter. Without Hassanin, every rep for Ezekiel, Zeke Turner, and first-rounder Nick Truckstop Thompson suddenly weighs heavier. Opposing QBs get a little more time, pocket a bit more confidence. Remember how Barry Sanders used to dance around creaky defenses and break ankles? Imagine losing that spark on the trenches. Defense's foundation crumbling, offense forced to win shootouts they're not always equipped for. And speaking of foundations, it hit me. This injury echoes Detroit's past heartbreaks lately. We've seen it before. Caldwell's firing after years of promise squandered by injuries, last season's playoff surge peeling back to a brutal offseason of what-ifs and maybes. Hassanin's pectoral could have been the fresh spark in that narrative. The next chapter for a rebuilding D-line hungry to shed last year's loss and make a statement to the division. Now, it's a wait and see, and that's where it turns into a test of the Lions' soul. Can this team wither, or will it grind through the pain? If you're sweating under that Honolulu blue jersey right now, you're not alone. But hold up, the ripple might cut deeper than on the line alone. Campbell also dropped updates on the secondary that matter big time. Cornerback Khalil Dorsey is back from the PUP list after breaking his leg last December. Dorsey was a special teams ace last year, and frankly, that side of the ball needs his bite now more than ever after the DB depth has been decimated. Meanwhile, safety Kirby Joseph is sidelined with knee soreness, minor, but enough to keep him off the field for a bit, and Maurice Norris remains in concussion protocol after that brutal preseason hit. So the secondary is limping into the season too, which means Detroit's defense is facing a storm on all fronts, and things could get bleak before they get better if injuries keep piling up. The injury bug has this team walking a tightrope. But here's the Detroit resilience part. We know how to fight through chaos. We remember Barry's impossible runs, Calvin's electric plays, and the heartbreak of that 0-16 season that somehow thickened our skins. These trials carve character. Hassanin's injury is a blow, no sugarcoating it. But his reputation as a relentless grinder means he'll crawl back from the injury, rehab through the pain, and remind everyone why the Lions don't quit on the first knockdown. Campbell's faith in that kind of grit won't be misplaced. Still, let's not sugarcoat the hurt and the questions it raises. Who steps up now on the D-line rotation? Will Zeke Turner suddenly become the workhorse? Can veteran free agents or untested backups carry the load without breaking the bank or spiraling the cap situation? Expect some turbulent roster shuffles come cut day because the Lions need fresh bodies, even if it means rolling the dice on practice squad players or hunting mid-season acquisitions. On top of that, rivals in the NFC North will smell our thinning. Ranks. The Vikings, Packers, and even the Bears know injury is opportunity. You can bet Minnesota's defense will be hammering home the message on why Detroit needs to keep those men fresh on the front four. And of course, there's the intrigue. Hassanen's recovery timeline is foggy. Campbell's, "I don't have that answer yet," hangs heavy like a storm cloud over Ford Field. Could Hassanen come back after a late-season push and inject the defense with some rocket fuel? Or is this the start of a long, slow rebuild and a test of the team's playoff mettle without one of their promising young edge rushers? Either way, this injury shifts the storyline and leaves the Lions faithful holding their breath for answers. For a franchise clawing itself out of the shadows, every injury like this isn't just a player lost. It's a piece of hope, a thread in that Honolulu blue tapestry, fraying under pressure but never tearing completely. As the calendar inches toward Week 1, all eyes are on the coaches and the front office to see who rises, who falls, and how the Lions respond to this brutal curveball. The next few weeks might dictate whether 2025 becomes a breakthrough season or another painful replay. One thing's certain, this Lions squad will fight tooth and nail, tailgate with ice-cold beers blazing, and refuse to let the setbacks like Hassanen's injury define them. But the question that's hanging in the Detroit air, when the dust settles from all these injuries, who exactly will be left standing on that defensive line? Because if Hassanen can't suit up and Onwuzuriki's out for the year, this team's pass rush might look thinner than a Detroit pizza slice at 3 a.m. Now that's a cliffhanger even Barry Sanders would hesitate to dash through. Detroit Lions fans, this isn't just a bump in the road. This is the kind of damage that stretches the very fabric of our grit, and we roar loud enough to shake the rafters with a battle cry. No team in the NFC North is waiting to hand us a pass now, and the question isn't if we'll fall apart, but how we're gonna grind out of this pit. Hassanen's injury might have just flipped the script, but Detroit fighters don't fold. They emerge even more ferocious, even more desperate, because they know the stakes are sky high and every snap counts. When your depth chart looks like a skeleton crew, every man swings between hero and zero, and the clock doesn't care about your plans. It's ticking down to a season-defining moment, and the Lions are staring the Hurricanes straight in the eye. The locker room's buzzing with tension. Campbell's voice might be steady, but behind that calm facade, you know the wheels are spinning faster than ever. The coaching staff, they're scouring the practice squad, hunting for a diamond in the rough, because with Onwuzuriki gone and McNeil still banged up, it's a survival of the fittest. League whispers suggest the front office might dip into free agency. Maybe sign a veteran pass rusher on the cheap, but that won't fix the chemistry overnight. The NFC North teams, they're already circling, smelling blood in the water, thinking, if Detroit's defense is this hurt, maybe it's time to test their resolve, with a blitz, a deep shot, or a sneaky run up the gut before the clock runs out. But that's where the season could snap in half, because if these injuries spill over into Week 1, what's left of Detroit's playoff hope might be gushing blood before Thanksgiving. Sources hint the team's cap situation might mean they're forced to make gut-wrenching cuts, might have to sacrifice a promising rookie or trade for a Band-Aid, risking chemistry and morale in the process. The drama isn't just about who's hurt. It's about who's stepping up. Zeke Turner, that gritty linebacker who's been eating dirt and giving everything he's got, suddenly holds the line. But anyone who's watched the Lions know there's a history of heartbreak here, of promises made and shattered. Calvin's retirement, Barry's departure that 0-16 season. These scars aren't gone. They're just buried deep. Now that relentless grind, that never-say-die attitude, will it be enough to outlast the storm brewing on our very line? Or are we walking straight into another chapter of disappointment? Because pushing our luck will require more than just grit. It'll require the kind of miracle Detroit hasn't seen in a long, long time. And the secondary? Just as battered. Dorsey's return is a small beacon amid the chaos, but with Kirby Joseph sidelined and Norris still out, those deep routes and trick plays suddenly become the playground for opponents. League chatter says the secondary is teetering, that losing such key pieces might open up the floodgates for opposing offenses. Think Kirk Cousins carving us up, love for love, throwing confident lasers. Because our secondary's resilience looks paper-thin right now. That brings us back to the heart. Once the backbone of Detroit's defense was built on toughness and load-bearing will. Now, it's fragile and brittle, leaning on luck and hope. Every hit, every injury, is a stone added to Detroit's pyramid. of grit. Can we rebuild faster than the injuries pile up? Or are we rebuilding in a storm that will never settle? The call is coming soon, and the front office knows. This is more than roster management. It's survival against the odds. And, let's be real, this is about more than football. The ghosts of past failures are haunting us. Caldwell's firing? A reminder of what happens when injuries derail seasons, and the fans' patience wears thin. This front office is about to face a choice: stick to their guns or gamble everything on an unproven squad that's already been tested by spells of chaos. Rumors suggest the Lions might even pivot mid-season, shake up the roster, bring in a vet or two. But at what cost? Will our faith in the young guns be rewarded, or will it be yet another chapter of heartbreak, with the season slipping away as if on slick Detroit asphalt? And all the while, the NFC North's predators sniff the weakness. Vikings are loading up, Packers are sharpening their claws, and the Bears, they're just laughing. They've been waiting for us to stumble, and if we fall now, it might be a long, cold winter of what could have been that we can't shake. It's the kind of pressure that turns gambling men into legends or ruins them forever. The difference between fighting to stay afloat or sinking without a trace, and the clock is relentless. And then, just as the dust seems about to settle, the phone rings in the front office. The decision hangs heavy. Do they gamble everything on a mid-season splash and risk tearing apart what little stability remains? Or do they buckle down with what's left and hope that grit, luck, and a little Detroit magic can somehow carry this battered squad to the promised land? Picture it: 4th and 1, the final drive, time evaporating, and Detroit's future hanging in the balance. The whistle blows, the stadium's hushed in anticipation, and the front office's final call will either write a new, resilient chapter or seal their fate with a reckless gamble that could either elevate this team or bury it under a pile of injury woes and shattered dreams. This is Detroit. We don't back down. If the Lions are going down, it's swinging with everything we've got, no matter the odds, no matter the scars. Because in the end, heroes aren't born from comfort. They're forged in chaos, and the storm is just beginning.